Good to go?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Zon Eastis, and I, as chair of the Guilford Select Board, I will call to order this meeting on Monday, September the 9th. Welcome, everyone. Folks that are on the screen, I'm looking at the screen, and we just need to make sure that we see a first and last name for every person. I see one person right now listed as Zoom user, and that won't work.
2 people.
So we need to have a first and last name, and by open meeting law standards, if we don't see a name soon, we'll have to put you in the waiting room. All right? All right, welcome everybody. So we'll start first with the rules of procedure.
Yeah, sure. The Select Board, is required by law, conducts meetings in accordance with Vermont Open Meeting Law 1 VSA 310 to 314. At these meetings, the public must be afforded a reasonable opportunity to give its opinion on matters considered by the Select Board, so long as order is maintained. Such public comment is subject to the reasonable rules established by the chair of the Select Board under 1 VSA 312H. Here we go.
All right, thank you very much. All right, changes to the agenda order, and I think there are none this evening. Welcome, everyone. Hi. Right. We'll ask you to sign the book so we know you're here, or the piece of paper there. Oops. All right, now we open it up for public comment at this point of the meeting. We have 10 minutes. If there's any public comment this evening that we'd like to have folks. Right? Identify yourself. Yeah.
Dolores Clark, Cemetery Hill. I guess you're not allowed to ask questions, but my comment is that I'm wondering how, now that Ellie is the anointed town clerk.
Appointed, I think is what you mean.
No, I meant anointed.
No, she's appointed.
Yeah, okay.
Both.
Yeah, if she was having a hard time doing her treasury work and too much overtime, and the same with Erica, too much overtime, so we hired somebody to fill in those extra 20 hours a week. How is she doing that? How is she able to do this now?
Be a question for
Okay.
Kelly.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I guess the second half of my question would be, how do I find out?
You could call any one of us at another moment, but not during the meeting. We're not going to have a discussion about that here.
Mhm.
We have
Okay.
business to do, so feel free to call any one of the select board members.
Okay.
Contact us.
Ozan, can I just add something?
Sure.
Yeah, the town office is going to be closed tomorrow, but you could also just stop in and talk to Ellie.
Be a good idea. Go to the source.
All right, any other comments? Okay, then we'll move ahead to approval of the minutes. We need to approve the minutes of August 26th. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
I will second that.
Thank you. Is there any any discussion of those minutes? Anything
They
anybody
were
want to know?
You were fantastic.
Yeah,
I
per usual.
corrected a few
All right.
semicolons.
All right. Let's see. Tara, there you are. Can we turn off? Can we not hear you? Turn that off. Hi, Tara.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Can we
Okay.
exit that thing here in the I can't see Tara's face. So Tara, we've got a motion and a second. Are you willing to approve the minutes?
Aye.
Thank you.
I would say aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zon says aye. All right, thanks very kindly. All right, then we'll move ahead to the finance portion of the meeting. And Tara, are you ready to read the warrants to us?
Yep. I would like to move to accept the warrants as written.
That one. All right.
Payroll week 9/1/24, $8,842.63. Payroll week 9/8/24, that's to be determined. Expense warrant number 2505 is $242,329.31. And expense warrant number 2505V is $1,891.10. So when we find out the payroll for week 9/8/24, we will have the total.
All right, Tara, I will jump in there, and I have the total.
Okay.
So the total for payroll week ending 9/18/24 is $7,836.95, which makes a grand total of, listen to this number, $260,899.99.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will second that. Is there anything that we want to discuss, Tara?
Yes, thanks to Erica just pointing some things out for me. The Weatherhead Hollow paving is complete. That total is $209,826.96. All the work was done by all states. There's no state grant for that this year, but the $130,000 of it was from a resurfacing fund that'll be used. And then $79,826.96 was from the highway surplus. That was approved on the July 8th select board meeting. More tree removal, Anson Baldwin for $2,200, diesel fuel for $2,272.23, gravel and riprap, $2,786. We did determine last meeting that the Kubota parts are not under warranty. We have another expense, $542.11. And then liability insurances, including for all the buildings, equipment, workers' comp, $13,679.50. And then $1,984.28 of that is paid by the Guilford Volunteer Fire Department for their building.
All right. Any further discussion at the board here? All right. So we have a motion and a second. Tara, are you in favor of approving these warrants?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zon says aye. Okay, thank you very kindly. We'll get that in. All right, now we'll move to updates and reports, and this will turn to Erica first for the town administrator report.
I'm looking at my email for something. So the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention is their Rescue Inc. is having a town consortium on Sunday, September 22nd, and they have invited the select board to attend that. It's at 4 o'clock on Sunday at Vemsa, which is on Route 30 in Newfane. And this is, I believe this is a year where Rescue's contract amount goes up probably, or it will change. And they're always working on new ways to do things and change. So I encourage one of you guys to go to that if possible.
What time did
That
you
is
say?
at 4 p.m. on Sunday, September 22nd. So I'll be bugging you
All right.
as we get closer
Good.
to that. Tomorrow, the town office will be closed because Ellie and I are going up to Montpelier to do elections training. The Secretary of State's election division is doing a big statewide training, and that's in Montpelier, and it's going to be the whole day. So we're closing the town office tomorrow, and we'll be reopened on Wednesday. Sorry, and related to that, I just want to give a shout out to Uriel and Marlene and just Lisa and everybody in the town office, and assist from Pete Hutzel as well. Everybody is really stepping up. We've reconnoitered our hours, and we're all working to make things happen that need to happen. So, yeah, really amazing amount of teamwork going on. Let's see. Oh, and another wonderful thing that's happened is the town of Guilford can now make payments to the town online. So we have online payments for tax payments, for town clerk stuff like car registration renewals, vehicle registration renewals, dog licenses, anything that the town clerk can do, we can get those payments online now. So it's right on our website. If you go to guilfordvt.gov and look in the top right corner, it says pay a bill, and you click on that and you're taken to a third-party site that tells you everything to do, and there's two options. You can pay by electronic check, which has a flat fee, or if, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do this if I was paying my taxes, but you can pay a 3.75% fee also if you just want to use your debit card. That's kind of a standard fee. Anyway, so awesome work by Ellie on getting that together, because we interviewed, this was a few months ago that the select board approved this action, and we interviewed different vendors for it, and this one called Municipay rose above all of them in spades, and there's no cost to the town to do this. They get all their funding from customers, from the small fees that they collect, and because they have a lot of different towns that they work for.
So could I ask a question and also remind people about part of it that was part of our decision making about this? The details were posted on Front Porch Forum, and it would be great to do that on a regular basis, just to put it out there on Front Porch Forum, especially as we get closer to tax season. And for those here, one of the parts of our decision making about this is that the fee for paying taxes with a credit card, if people are going to do that, is less than what it would cost you if you were delinquent in payment. So, that just seemed very profound to me.
Yep.
That it would be, that seems to be one of the benefits for our neighbors.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Erica?
Yeah.
For the electronic check, which I'm assuming is an ACH transaction,
Yep.
there's a flat fee. Now, do you know if that's $10, $15, and that's if somebody's paying thousands of dollars in taxes, it's one small flat fee, right? It's not based on what they're paying.
That's right, and it's I can tell you what the flat fee is. It's $1.50 per transaction.
Oh my goodness.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And it's, if you use your credit or debit card, it's 2.75%, and there's a $3 minimum. So
So
you-
it's
something
it's
that's
smart to use your checking account.
yes, and it
convenient.
yeah, and it works pretty much the same way. You just enter the information into the Municipay.
You can wait, later we'll have community comments.
Okay,
That's
so
great.
I have one more thanks. I would like to thank Joe at Brattleboro Towing. I'm not sure if this has been done yet. I didn't go over there and check today, but there was a abandoned vehicle at the playscape for the better part of last week, and somebody had removed the tags from it, and it had just been sitting there, and a couple of people called me to say, hey, there's this car. It looks almost like it crashed into one of the rocks that make up the parking area, and so
It's gone now.
excellent. So Joe at Brattleboro Towing dealt with that for us. And thanks also to the Vermont State Police who went and checked it out and made sure that it wasn't stolen.
Great. Okay, anything else?
There is one thing. I am starting to get, thankfully, information from our social services that we give appropriations to at town meetings. So that's town report preparation right there.
And
Their
budgeting.
reports and yes,
Getting your
and budgeting.
Right.
It's starting.
Good.
Let's make sure we get lots of information from Sebit so everyone knows what they're doing,
Yeah,
because it's always a big question.
yeah. I think we already got
No,
that.
we already got that.
I think we already got their request.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't hurt for us to follow up, and they're always willing to have somebody come to the meeting, so, yeah.
Can I ask when we're,
That's Sebit's got.
when budget meetings are scheduled to take place?
They're
Or
not scheduled yet.
or
Typically they
which
start.
month?
Normally, they start at the end of November and December, and we usually have to, the select board has to finalize the budget for the annual report in, I forget which meeting, but one of the January meetings. It's all guided by statute.
Perfect way to enjoy the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Good. I'd just like to say thank you, Erica, for that, and I would also like to second your words about the team effort here at the
Yeah, me
staff.
too.
It's impressive to see folks stepping up, and we'll have to learn how it's all going to go. And we have evaluation periods set in here so we can make sure that things are going as we need to. But it's really great to see this team at work, so it's good.
Online pay is brilliant, and that took a long time.
Yes.
That just wasn't the week's worth,
No, yes,
Yeah,
a
it was
lot of
good.
work,
That was a lot of work.
a lot of research, a lot of
Yeah.
setting it up. Yeah.
And there'll probably be more on that at another point. I can remember when the different commissions wanted to be able to have online donations. So this is not
That's
a
a good
thing
idea.
for now. It's just, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But, down the road, it's going to come up again of how people can have a central way to support the work of the commissions that they want to support.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Plus, when you do it in the front porch forum, that $1.50 and the $2.75 is really should be in there. That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
I want one more question.
Yeah.
Erica, you said that people can renew their dog licenses online and pay. Can people start a new dog license online and just send in the rabies certificate and whatnot and pay?
That is a very good question. I don't know if we made a attach your rabies certificate option to that. I think you might still have to do some emailing back and forth to share that with Ellie.
Well, we could do it online.
Yeah, like if you set it in motion, you could pay online.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Okay, do you have a report from Danny about the highway? Anything from the highway department?
No, Danny's been out a little bit last couple of weeks, taking advantage
Some
of
vacation
the
time.
massive amount of personal time that he has accrued
Mm-hmm.
before he retires. And I believe that his official retirement date has been set to be November 30th.
Oh, wow, okay.
But that's the
That's what I
end of
said.
hunting season, isn't it, in Vermont? Never mind. Sorry, that was out of line.
Second week in November.
Second week in November.
So he'll get on some hunting and then,
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank
Yeah.
you for that.
but everything looks good.
All right, folks, we'll move right on into old business. We have 3 topics under the old business heading. Just to say, so everyone understands, old businesses are topics that the select board has seen before. It's our practice to make an effort to spread votes so that we don't do a vote in a single meeting unless we need to for particular reasons. Otherwise, we will generally try to spread discussions across 2 meetings and then take action. So that's the first 2 actions this evening. We'll be looking at the Slate Rock Road Culvert project and the notion of outsourcing the management of that project. We talked about it at a previous meeting and got some questions answered. I'm wondering if there are any further questions. I will say that as I understand how this works, that the Wyndham Regional Commission would serve as the management for the project. They have the capacity to do that. They've certainly done it in other towns and with good success, and so that's part of the reason that we're considering it all. By asking the Wyndham Regional Commission to do this management, it actually will save time here in our office. Otherwise, Erica would be doing all that management, and so the grant will pay for this line item. So I wonder, I'll put on the table, we're not ready to, we won't approve, we're not ready to approve any actions or any, I don't mean actions, I'm sorry. We're not ready to start the project tonight, but we do need to set this in motion. So I'll put on the table that I would like to move that the select board approve the notion of outsourcing the management for this project to the Wyndham Regional Commission.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, I looked at it, I thought it was good.
Is there any further discussion at the select board? Do we all understand what's going on here? We feel comfortable about it?
Yeah, they had a good explanation last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is being paid for by a grant. And if it was not, it would be on Erica's plate. And why not? If it's paid for by a grant, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a pretty complicated project. Danny believes, rightfully so, that there's going to have to be a temporary bridge built, which adds to the complications of this project and the time and the cost. So there's that. There's the federal procurement policies all the way down to the town procurement policies to follow. And I'll reiterate that somebody from the select board is going to need to join the Wyndham Regional Committee about this project when it gets rolling.
I see, okay. Yeah, so we don't have a timeline for that yet. We don't know when it would start necessarily.
No, not necessarily,
Okay.
but
All right.
Are we thinking in the spring or this fall?
I think once we get this piece going, we can find out some more about it. Probably more like next summer. And Danny thinks that the whole project could be completed in like that amount of time. It won't have to span over 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, I just know like everyone's so busy and this is kind of crunch season for anyone doing that type of work. So I'm just assuming it would be next year.
I think that was the assumption going into it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And before the select board member volunteers to be on the committee, perhaps there'll be a job description for what?
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, does the select board member just need to smile and nod? Or is there some kind of watchdog
True,
role
yeah.
or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll
Yeah.
get that all cleared.
Yeah, you notice everybody started looking at the watch and going, oh, look at the time.
It's been my experience working with Wyndham Regional Commission on other projects that they're very good about providing expectations and situations like that. So it should work really well if they work as they normally have. All right. So are we comfortable? We'll go ahead then. We have a motion and a second about the Slate Rock Road Culvert project. Tara, are you willing to approve this?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Ms. On says aye. All right, thank you. So we'll hear more about this, folks. We're not done with this project. It's a big one, complicated, and will be inconvenient for a few days, I'm sure, for some people. All right, the next item on the agenda is still under old business, is a look at remaining ARPA dollars.
That's him.
Oh, that's you, okay. Phew. Sounds just like mine. The select board has appointed a task force to look at the remaining dollars, all of which need to be obligated by the end of this year. And so we are going to hear tonight from the task force about 2 potential projects.
So I can speak to this.
That would be great.
The subcommittee task force has reviewed the 2 applications. One is from the Guilford EMDs for $52,375.
That's the emergency group for people who aren't familiar with it.
And that is to purchase battery energy storage systems and portable air source heat pumps in the event of power outages and for emergency cooling. I think it could be used for heating as well. So winter or summer disasters potentially. the subcommittee is going to encourage the select board to
Approve.
approve this.
Okay, so we can take that as a motion.
Do you want to do them separately?
I think we
Or-
probably should.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
just to be really clear, so, I'll second it. All right. Is there any further discussion that you'd like to offer, Michael, or anybody have questions?
It
We-
was,
it was
you know,
presented.
I think that I attended a meeting of the emergency management group, and it was a really reasonable revision of a previous idea that this was to have equipment available in a much more sort of nimble, as we say these days, way, so that whether people are sheltering, let's say, at the school, or whether they were having a household emergency of an extended power outage where they would need either cooling or heating, the devices that they're buying would be easy to move and affordable.
Yep.
And durable.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
I think the only thing I'll say is, I was on the task force subcommittee, so I'm just making the recommendation that the select board consider it.
Likewise.
So I'm not making a motion.
No, but
So-
it will come as a motion because the task force putting it forward, but not you or individually.
Right, so I think you seconded a motion that I haven't made yet, so someone needs to make the motion that way.
Oh, no, I would just say, that you, well, let's see, the recommendation
Yeah.
stands as the motion.
Really?
Yeah. That's,
Would
that's,
it be more public spirited, let's say, to have somebody who wasn't involved with the deliberations or the research to present the motion?
Yeah, the subcommittee's not making the motion, we're just making a recommendation. I don't want to get into it.
Can we just have a
Technical-
chat?
I mean, I'm sure I have to
Yeah,
play by the rules
someone
there.
should make the motion.
Could someone else make the motion?
I will make the motion.
Yeah.
all right, then I will second it.
Okay.
Okay, that we,
All right.
yeah,
All right. Okay,
based on the subcommittee's recommendation. No, I'm kidding. We'll just make the motion.
to accept.
To accept,
their
yes,
recommendation
yes.
and move forward.
Yes.
With the emergency management.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. That's Dan Engel, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I
That's
don't
really,
know if
really
we
good.
mentioned that this time, I think we did the last time we heard this proposal, but that's the same amount of ARPA award that they were previously awarded for one generator
Right.
to be at the school, but that turned out to be a little more trouble than we thought. So this is
This is a cost-effective
way better
alternative.
solution.
Yeah, it's much better
Yeah.
from a cost-effective standpoint. Yeah.
Good.
All right.
So, Tara, are you willing to approve?
Yes, aye.
Thank you. Chip?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Ms. Oz says aye. Okay, thank you. Then we'll go to the second one.
Okay, the second ARPA application request was from the Planning Commission to be used for printing of a Guilford guide. And that amount is $5,997. Again, the task force subcommittee is going to recommend that the, oh, you said 5 minutes? That the select board consider approving this request as well.
I will make the motion that we allocate those ARPA dollars to the planning commission.
All right. I will second that. Okay, so just to be clear, what I understand is, as Veranda explained about the previous one, the Planning Commission was originally awarded us $40,000 for a planning grant, I think.
Right.
They ended up not, huh?
45.
45, thank you, 45,000. They ended up not using that full amount, but one of the next steps in that planning process is this very guide, and so they're proposing that we use those dollars that they didn't use for this purpose.
Right, and the final tally though is a little over 10, right? Thousand for the planning.
Right, and some of that comes out of existing
Yeah,
planning.
none of that
planning
is,
fund.
right, it's all planning commission funded.
Right.
Right.
Okay, any further discussion?
Well, all I wanted to say is that I'm on the committee, so I'm not going to vote. I mean, the guide committee.
Oh, you're recusing, all right,
Okay.
fair
Yeah,
enough.
I'm
All right.
recusing.
Okay, so I'll ask you if you're abstaining.
Oh, I'm abstaining,
Well,
right.
I'll ask you that in a moment.
Oh, okay, well, I'll know my answer then.
All right, good. So Tara, are you willing to approve?
Yes, I just wanted to also state again that this is not going to be funded by taxpayers at all. The $10,000,
Right.
the grants, and then money that they already had.
Aye.
Okay, yep, okay,
Aye.
good.
Totally
Chip
agree.
says
Yeah.
aye. All right, Michael?
Aye.
Brenda?
I abstain.
Son says aye. All right,
Could you
thank
explain what the guide is?
I would,
it-
can I just give a very
Sure.
Oh,
quick?
yeah, that'd be great.
It's been
Yeah.
explained, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would love to explain. We got the idea from several other towns who put together a guide, like in Bethel, they called it the Bethel Operator's Manual. And it's a guide to how to participate in the life of the town. And so for newcomers, for people who want to have all of this information aggregated in one place, for real estate agents who want to give people a sense of what the town is like in terms of what businesses there are here, how to participate in civic life, what the cultural resources are, what the schools are like. That's what will be in the Guilford Guide. And there'll be both a version that's printed and that will be distributed to every household, and also an online version that can be improved and updated like once or twice a year. Does that answer your question
Yeah,
it does.
adequately?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dolores.
Okay, all right. So then we'll move on to the third topic under old business. And this is a topic that has come up. We're not going to take any action this evening, just want to talk about this to make sure we understand what's going on. The Guilford Reserve Fund Balance Policy. The Select Board actually addressed it about a couple of months ago. Yeah, and looked at it and made one small change in it. And then the policy itself was shown to our professional auditor, and she has made a number of recommendations to bring it more closely in line with financial practices. And so we're just going to be looking at those changes this evening, talking them through, and then we'll approve this at another meeting.
Okay, Zan, could you just say a few sentences about what the reserve fund is for the people who are at the meeting who don't know about it?
Yeah, I'll try. Guilford established in 2014, I think it was 2013, 2014, a fund that was intended for those years in which there were, I guess, extra funds at the end of a year. Surplus, thank you. Surplus funds at the end of a fiscal year. And rather than just let those funds sit in our general operating funds, those funds at the time and after an audit are then set into a reserve, and those funds can be used for certain specific uses. They cannot be, just for an example, they cannot be used to just lower taxes in the next year or something like that. But it's used as, sometimes it's called a rainy day fund. There are issues that come up that are non-budgeted, that it makes sense to use the reserve fund. So the town set that up, and it also helps us reduce the tax rate in the long haul, because we know it's there and we can use it in certain ways as we're preparing the budget, but not just to lower taxes, if that makes sense. You know?
But also, if I can just add, it means that our town wouldn't be borrowing money because we would have reserve funds.
That's one use. Yeah, actually we have other funds that keep us from borrowing money, like the bridge funds and the
Capital fund,
capital.
yeah.
We have other
But
kinds of
but
funds.
the reserve fund is one of those
It-
things for
it helps us.
unanticipated expenses mainly.
Yeah, we should just say unanticipated expenses, because we've heard a fair amount of discussion when that comes up. Unanticipated expenses means that the budget does not anticipate an expense, not that we as humans didn't anticipate an expense. And when is something anticipated or unanticipated? It simply means that if it's not in the budget, something is an unanticipated expense, even though somebody might have seen it coming for 6 months once the budget got approved or whatever. So that's just a side note, but there you go. So what the name of this policy right now is called the Guilford Reserve Fund Balance Policy. And our auditor recommends that we change the name of that so that it becomes, get this, the Guilford Fund Balance Reserve Fund Policy, because that's the actual name of it. We call it the Fund Balance Reserve Fund. I don't know why that we have that
Fund
kind of
balance.
crazy name, but that's it.
Sure.
Okay, so and so there are a few changes that we're going to be that she's proposing. One is that there's a statement that that this fund currently there's a statement that says that this can be used to reduce the town tax rate and the need for short-term borrowing. And she just
Actually, that looks like it's crossed out because I moved it up, but that's still there.
oh
So that is the purpose of this.
That's what I thought.
Of the fund. I don't
Yeah.
know why it says it's crossed out. That was a mistake. But what we added was that this fund balance reserve fund policy supersedes and replaces in their entirety any previous versions of the Guilford Reserve Fund balance policy.
all right.
That's the only thing that we had to add there. The main thing that the accountant wanted to do, besides give it its proper name, was to base it on operating budgets instead of, it says, the previous policy said expenditures, and she said that word is essentially meaningless for her based on governmental accounting. So she wants, in plain language, she wants to be able to look at the previous fiscal year's budgets and base the levels of this account on those budgets.
I see.
Because expenditures change
They
on a
change
daily basis.
dramatically.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
So that's the main thing. And she has, governmental accounting is very specific. She wanted to take the word reserve out many times because this really technically is a special revenue fund. It's not a reserve fund. That's a different definition in governmental accounting. That's okay. We call it the reserve fund, so we can call it that still. And the other thing is that there was a sentence in there regarding how the select board should deal with the balance going below a certain percentage, and she wanted to change that, not to talk about the percentage, but to just say if it falls below the minimum balance to be maintained. And the percentage is noted somewhere else in this policy, but
I see.
It's down at the bottom.
yeah, and she really recommended changing it to a dollar amount instead of a percentage, because that would be easier to deal with, but we learned that that would probably take a vote from the town to change. So
Yeah, all right, then, thank you for all that. Then there's one other issue that has been raised. The select board, if you'll recall, adjusted one of these figures, these limit figures, the upper limit figure from 25%, we adjusted it to 20%. There's been some question back and forth.
no,
It's
we
not-
we
adjusted it to
adjusted it the other way.
25.
Oh, sorry.
We
Yeah.
put it up
Other way.
and now.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm
Yeah.
reading this incorrectly. All right. We adjusted it to 25% from 20%. Okay. And there's been some question about whether or not we had the right to do that. There's been question about whether or not when the article was first approved in 2013, whether the article had the right to actually even name those percentages. And whether or not the town needs to vote on those, whether or not the select board could vote to adjust them as we did. So in the interest of just not alarming anyone or adjusting anything, that we're going to recommend that we just put it right back where it was originally, which is to 20%.
Yes, the voters have the authority to create a fund.
Right.
There's no stated authority beyond that, like to say that it's any percentage, but that's what this article in 2013 says. So that's what's recommended.
Yeah, rather than get into a big kind of trying to figure out whether or not there was authority in 2013 or not, we'll just simply put it where, the proposal and the policy then is that we'll just put it back where it was and leave it there alone. Okay? Any questions from I'm sorry, I'm a little foggy. I wasn't as clear as I'd like to have been, but everybody understand what we're getting ready to do at another meeting?
Basically, yeah.
So my understanding is that we're going to vote on this at the next select board meeting?
Correct. That's to make sure that we have time for public opinion about it.
Okay, and so will the document that we're looking at be like on the town website or something so that people can see it? Or, I mean, it's sort of complicated for people to have an opinion about.
Yeah.
It is a policy. So it should be, if it's going to be a policy, it should be public.
But do you want the draft policy to be on the website too?
I think
we can do that.
Yeah, I think we should put I think that we can do that.
Yeah.
The policy as it currently stands is there, and then we can reveal what the adjustments would be to it.
With maybe a sentence or two of summarizing.
Well, yeah, I was going to say back in May, I remember before we started this, I had done an FAQ on this. We can also post that if you want. I can send it to you. It was just like a frequently asked questions on reserve funds.
Sure. That's
great.
So yeah, because it did follow the statute 24 BSA, whatever it was. But yeah, I'll just send that to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that at least it's like a layman's explanation of something that can be too technical.
All right.
I'd like to can I make a statement about reserve funds? And I hope that I'm not complicating things, but I do know that a lot of people have questions and they think we have this like big chunk of money. But I just wanted to say that reserve funds enable the town of Guilford to purchase things without having to finance. And we actually earn a substantial amount of interest on these funds. And not all towns do this or can do this. They pay a lot of interest on financing, and we do not.
Yeah, that's a very strong point, Tara. Yeah. All right. So there's no motion here this evening. It's just conversation, so we can all be up to speed about what's happening. So if there's no further comment about this from the select board, then we'll move on to new business, of which there's none this evening. There's nothing in front of us at this moment. So then we'll move on to other business, and there is no other business. There is correspondence, which is the next item on the agenda. And so I want to quickly acknowledge that we've received two resignations. Just to acknowledge them, we will need to vote on accepting those at a future meeting, and then also the next thing. There are two resignations from the Guilford Recreation Commission, one from Mary Wallace Collins and one from Chris Zappola. Thank them for their service, for sure, to the Recreation Commission. And we also received yesterday a communication that the Recreation Commission will be forwarding to us for future consideration 3 appointments to the Recreation Commission. Reagan Beebe, Sylvana Curlin-Smith, and Taylor Franklin. We have a little tiny bit of bio information about each of them that we'll include in the next next meeting's notes. So just to front that and let people know that that we're that's on the docket for next time.
Do we know who's gonna be the chair of that, to take over for Marion?
I think Megan.
Megan, yeah, is, but that's not.
Not, that was just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they put a lot of effort into renovation of the commission.
Yeah.
It's true that let's
So
see.
that's the second.
Where this is what we're gonna come to next.
Yes.
The commission currently has a stance of 9 commissioners.
Right.
That means that whenever they need to do business, they need to have 5 people present at a meeting. It's not, even though there have been vacant seats for a while on that commission, for instance, it still requires a quorum of 5 members.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not just the quorum of who's standing on the committee
Right.
now.
They should.
So, all right, then we have one other communication. You want to
Yes.
read?
Yep, I have some photos that were sent. I can share my screen. Okay, these were sent by Kyle Parker, who, oops, sorry. No,
Go back to share
Oh,
or stop share.
it's, you know what, I have to
Oh, I see.
move this. Eek. And share it as a. Alright, fine. Here we go.
Remove those folks again.
So, move this, and that will work. No,
Oh,
it's
then you
still
can
in
push
the
the
way.
button on the left.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so Kyle couldn't be here tonight, but he says he'd like to bring awareness or start a conversation about the sign entering Guilford from Brattleboro. It's in dire need of repair or needs to be removed or replaced. It's an eyesore to people entering the village. So here are some pictures that you can see, and I learned after Kyle contacted me about this, there's a chunk of it missing. Some wood that isn't in very good shape. That's what it looks like when you're passing it by, and it's all barely able to be read. I remember when this was new. I thought it was
Yes.
so fancy. But if this was apparently an Eagle Scout project.
Oh.
So I would like to, I know Fred Humphreys was involved.
Oh, right.
But if there's any original folks that have any knowledge about this project, I'd like to get in touch with them just to let them know. And maybe see if there's current Eagle Scouts that are willing to renew the project. Yeah, that's all
I know
really have to
Leslie
say.
Malowin is
Yeah,
a
I was
PAC
thinking-
leader,
yeah,
and she
exactly.
might know.
Yeah, so starting a conversation about this,
Yeah.
this old sign.
And the graphic designer.
That's right.
What?
Oh, yes, a
Oh,
graphic.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, a wonderful graphic.
Yeah.
Graphic designer as well.
Yeah.
Maybe she could lead her Cub Scouts.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's that.
Okay.
Kyle is so great on signage, you know, he was responsible for designing all the cemetery signs, and so he's got signs on the brain.
That's great. Good. Okay, folks, then we'll open it up now at 7:19 for public comment. If there's anything anybody would like to say, I see Davida Bagatelle.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. Davida Bagatelle, Carpenter Hill Road. Serendipitous because I was going to mention that very sign. And so thank you to Kyle for taking the pictures. I think with the fair recently and the cello concert, many people have come to Guilford, and every time I drive by that sign, I always wish that it was readable. It looks like it was a great sign originally. But I also have one other thought about the town hall sign. I think when people come to town or when people are doing town business, the sign out the end of the driveway of the town hall would probably be beneficial to consider that as well, so that with your guide, being proud of the two signs that most people see when they come to visit. So thank you.
Thank you. Davida, do you mean the one in front of the town office?
Yes, I said town hall because I'm used to that. Town office, I'm sorry, yes.
Well, you'll be glad to know that that one has been repaired.
Yeah, that was fixed.
But it's not very
Well, I haven't been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, come visit.
Come look sometime. It's been
I
done.
will certainly do that. So I'm glad to hear that both of these were taken care of. So thanks for your time.
Great, thank you. All right. Anything, anybody
Aaron,
else?
did you have a
Yes, here's
question?
comment.
I had two things.
Oh, you have to
tell
identify
us-
yourself.
I'm Aaron. Do I have to say where I live?
Yeah, the road you live on.
Packers Corners Road.
What's your last name?
Mar Fuller.
Okay.
And first of all, Danny and the road crew doing amazing. I want them all to know that after living here for 40 years, they are doing amazing. Second is, when people are paying, is there a fund or something you can cover the $1.70? I know it's only $1.75, but I always balk at when I have to pay a fee to pay. Is there a way to get rid of that? I would put that up.
Well, look, we'll see. We did a lot of work just to quickly say it, I know there was a lot of work on the part of the staff to find the program that was going to be the least costly to any individual.
I know. I just know
So,
personally
yeah.
when I see that, I'm like, what? I have to pay to pay, and I don't like that. And I think I think it would probably make you earn more revenue, or us earn more revenue.
All right, well, we'll look into it, yeah. That's great. Any other comments?
I have a comment about the reserve fund policy thing. And I guess it's a question to put into your head at this point, and then I can maybe find out the answer when you do it. At one point, I had asked how, if there's a limit that the select board can spend before it has to go to the town. And what makes me think of that is almost the 90 some odd $1,000 and then the $7,000. One was for the library, all the stuff to get, the planning, we'll say, for the library, and one was for the second half of the matching grant for the path to nowhere through town. That came out of, I do believe, the reserve fund. And I was wondering what's the eye roll for, Erica?
Oh, Chip asked me a question.
Oh, and I wonder where the limit is in that fund that the select board can spend without having to go to the town. And if that is in the policy, and if it's not, something like that should be put in the policy, that it isn't just like a blank check.
I can just very quickly read the portion of the policy that I think you're talking about, and that's, or at least as I understand it, let me see if I can find it quickly. It says here, the select board's objective is for adequate funds to be set aside in this reserve in a planned and consistent manner, and for these monies not to be spent for regular town expenses or used to reduce property taxes. I do understand, I don't see the actual wording right here, but I understand that it's the select board who makes these decisions. There's nothing in here that states that there's a specific amount. So if you think there needs to be, I'd recommend you write something up and get it to us. Not just that you think there should be a specific amount, but make a suggestion to us that we might be able to consider.
So wait, so that's not the line that talks about the 5% and the 20%? Like we can't go above 20% of the total operating general fund or highway fund?
No, those, as I understand it, Tara, maybe I'm wrong, but those are about the size of this fund,
Yes.
what the size of this fund can be, not how it's spent. As I understand it, the how it's spent is once the fund was created, the how it's spent is entirely up to the select board, based on good, solid practice and clear understandings of things.
We're discussing.
Huh?
We're discussing.
Yeah.
Here's a small detail.
Yes, I know who that is.
Oh, you do? Okay, fine.
Okay, any other comments? All right, so then, folks, the next thing that happens before we adjourn is that the select board allows me to read into the record the actions that were taken at our previous meeting. And those were that we approved minutes of August the 12th, we approved the warrants, we approved a letter of support for an Algiers demonstration project, we approved a letter for Kate Kirkwood for lead hazard capacity grant writing, we approved 2 non-employee work agreements, we approved the posting of a notice of vacancy for the town clerk, we made a judgment on an allegation of violation of open meeting law submitted to the select board, and the select board appointed Ellie Mayanen as temporary town clerk. Actions taken this evening were that we approved the minutes of August the 26th, we approved the warrants, we approved a motion to outsource the management of the Slate Rock Road Culvert project. We also approved in 2 motions some of the remaining ARPA dollars, proposals for those, one to the for emergency management and one to the Planning Commission. And I think that's all that we did as far as actions are concerned this evening. So the next course of action would be to entertain a motion for adjournment.
I will make that motion, but before I make it, I am gonna say, we saw the movie Far Out last night with Veranda and company. I think it is absolutely mandatory viewing for everybody in Guilford. I really do. I mean, lots of people know the history, but to be able to sit there and see it, she was a pivotal person in it, but Charles Light did a great job. Just a great group of just a great movie, an incredible documentary, had a fantastic flow. I've had friends that saw it today. It's from at the Latches 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock from now through Thursday, and just
I think
fantastic.
they held it over.
Oh, good, longer than
It's
that.
gonna be at the garden too after.
Oh,
If you're
perfect,
gonna
awesome, cool. Well, it's actually fantastic. Okay, now I will make the motion to adjourn.
Second, the first part of his
Yeah,
motion?
there we go. It was good.
And the second.
Then the second. It was really good.
Is there any discussion about adjourning?
Yes, my discussion is that I'd like to welcome people who have never come to a select board meeting before, who are my dear neighbors.
Oh, very nice.
Come
So,
to-
welcome to everyone, but welcome to you all for certain. Yes.
All right.
There's Maggie Foley joining here at the last moment. All right, Tara, are you in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Thank you, Jim.
Aye.
All right, Michael?
Aye.
Virginia? Virginia. I just read Virginia.
Wow.
Veranda? I know who you are.
I can choose a new name
Yeah,
now,
you're
or
right.
hide under the table.
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. And my name is Zon, by the way. And I'm also
Not Amazon.
Exactly. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. We'll see you in 2 weeks.